Hey guys, buckle your seatbelts. We got a lot of wrestling news to discuss. I am going to save what I wrote first for last because it's going to take the most time. Wow. There is a lot going on in the crazy world of wrestling. Mandy Rose Sakamoto, known simply as Mandy Rose, was fired by the World Wrestling Federation World Wrestling Entertainment for her it's not fans only fan time or something like that, I forget, but it's like fans only. Basically, people put adult content on those sites. Now, I had a feeling about a couple of things in her interview with Tamron Hall, and I only got to see a portion of it. She says she's very hurt, and I thought she was very classy, don't get me wrong, with the situation. That being said, apparently, and I didn't see this part, she said, anything can happen in World Wrestling Federation. World Wrestling Entertainment. Where's my head? My head is retro today. When asked if she would be going back, she made $1 million on that site in the last month. Actually, I guess it was in 27 days. Because they're subscription sites. She claims that there's no nudity, it's implied nudity. And the best that I could tell, she was denying the shower scene with her fiance that got her canned in the first place. I don't know. In some ways, I almost think she was working Tamron Hall. Do you know what I mean? I almost think it was partly a work. Like she's going back. I won't be surprised if in the next month or so she doesn't reappear and go after her title. You know what I mean? And she was talking about going to NXT. And it's our developmental brand, just the way she was talking. Who says our? Unless you own stake in a company, you wouldn't say our, you would say it's the developmental brand. Unless you have a stake in the company. And I think she must have been a trainer. I don't know why, but she made it sound to Tamron Hall like she was older than most of the girls, and maybe she is. And that being sent to NXT wasn't a demotion. Demotion? She was never on the main roster, so how could it be a demotion? Because she was there to help the younger girls and whatever. Yeah, that's why you've been champion for 438 days. To help the younger girls, right? There were things that I didn't like, but I thought she was classy in terms of there's confidentiality. Yes, there sure is. It's written right into their contracts. And I just, something told me she was working Tamron Hall a bit. So we'll see what happens. Excuse me. And I thought it was interesting that Tamron Hall chose to have her on. Somehow I managed to get this wet, and I don't know how. But I had 2 full pages of news here, which is unusual. Excuse me. I'm going to take a tiny bit of cough syrup, I think, when I'm done with this video. Just a little bit, because I don't want to fall asleep. So yeah, I think that there was a little bit of that, but I think there was also, I don't know. It doesn't seem like anybody else is terribly interested in her. You know? I think AEW wants to stay away from that. Well, we'll see. Like I said, I think she's going back to WWE, but oh, excuse me. So we'll see if I'm right. Maybe. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, nor do I believe in that stuff, but my tea. So anyway, let's continue. Don't have a lot more to say about that. I think Tamron Hall did the best she could to research and whatnot. So we'll see. Like I said, time will tell. But the next piece of news is Tully Blanchard has left AEW after his contract expired. He says he will not wrestle ever again, as he can't wrestle like he used to, and he doesn't want to embarrass himself. He was asked by WWE to wrestle Ricky Steamboat, who's still in phenomenal shape, still can wrestle like you can't believe. Oh, hold on. We need a battery change. Sorry, guys, had to answer the phone. All right. We were talking about Sasha Banks in AEW. I hope it's true, because I think she'll fit that women's roster very nicely. And I really like her. So, remember, the opinions expressed herein are mine and mine alone. Tammy Sunny Sitch is going on trial for DUI manslaughter. Lord only knows what she was driving under the influence of, and managed to kill someone. Her pretrial hearing has been postponed. Now, my issue, if you want to call it that, no, my wondering can't even talk. I'm wondering, is she out on bond, or is she behind bars? Just curious. Okay, the next story. Superstar Billy Graham is battling a double ear infection that has spread to his inner ear bones and to part of his skull bone. He also has a hard-to-treat electrolyte imbalance, very low sodium. They describe it as hard to treat. The infectious disease doctor is looking at that ear infection saying, what on earth antibiotic do I use to get this infection out of his bones? And how did it get to a point where it's in his bones? In part of his skull bone and in the inner ear bones. You want to talk about dizzy? He's a dizzy deed, I'll tell you. Has to be. And pain. Oh. So prayers for Superstar. Now I want to go back to the first thing that I wrote, because it was going to take the longest to talk about. Vince McMahon is back in WWE. I'm not surprised. He's the chairman of the board again. I told you all in the very beginning when he retired, I mean, Triple H is still the chief brand officer or whatever, chief content officer. So he still decides what happens. So that's good. When her father took over, Stephanie has resigned completely because she never did get the leave of absence that she took because she had the opportunity to become co-CEO with Nick Khan. Now, her father is chairman of the board, and Nick Khan is back to being the sole CEO. So, and this morning, rumors were flying that the WWE had been sold to the Saudi Arabian something fund, and was going to be, instead of being publicly traded, was going back to being private. Most people inside the company are saying this is all BS. But where did this start? Where did this come from? There's got to be a grain of something in there. Now, I had heard that they were selling the company. Now, would they sell it to Saudi Arabia? It's possible, and that's why Crown Jewel is so important to them. Maybe that was part of a deal that they had been sort of working on over an extended period. But I did hear that Vince McMahon came back to finalize a sales deal that couldn't really be finalized without him, which it couldn't because he's the owner. Actually, last I knew, the company was in Linda's name from when they had the steroid scandal and stuff. He put it in Linda's name. I don't know if he ever put it back in his own name. Knowing him, he probably did, because that's his ego. So yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. I spilled my tea, but it was just a tiny bit of it. Scarf it right up. It's perfect. So that's why I wanted to talk about that last, because wow. It's mind-blowing. I don't think that they could sell without McMahon, because he's the owner. Even if the owner retires, unless they give ownership to someone else, they still own the company. They've just got other people running it for them. You know what I mean? He came back and was immediately elected chairman of the board of directors. And immediately said, this person and this person are going to be on the board with me or whatever. and it was all immediately voted up. So something is fishy in Stamford, Connecticut. Uh, so we'll just have to watch and see what happens. Need that cough syrup. Because I really don't know. What's going to happen. At any rate, it's kind of, and I don't think anybody else does either. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of guessing, rumors. But I wouldn't be surprised if the company is sold. But I think even if the company is sold, Vince McMahon will stay on the board of directors. I do believe that. Too much ego not to. He's made billions off it being a public company, publicly traded. For those who don't know what that means, when they say a company is public or private, public means that you're traded on the stock market. You have shareholders, people who own stock in your company. If you're a private company, if you don't choose to go public, then you're answering to your board of directors and no one else. Of course, in the case of the World Wrestling Entertainment, I almost did it again, they're also answering to their television partners, which they have to. Excuse me. They where's like I said, they have to answer to their television partners. That being said, I've heard rumors that they don't want to be in the PG era anymore, that they want to, go into a more not attitude era so much, but well, yeah, kind of more violence and stuff like that. More controversial stuff. I've been hearing that for a while. They can push the envelope a lot further across the table if they're not public. So the problem with Saudi Arabia buying it comes with the women. Because if a Saudi Arabian fund bought it, it would change things for the women. I mean, have you ever noticed when they go over there, the women are covered from chin to toe? It would be that way all the time. Which I will grant you, to me, doesn't make a darn bit of difference. As a matter of fact, it's actually better, truthfully, because there's no distraction for anybody. I'm not distracted by the fact that they're wearing so little clothes that I'm worried about seeing things that I don't want to see when they bend over or something. You know what I mean? And I think they're more relaxed when they're more dressed, if that makes sense. Not to mention the fact it goes back to the old days. I read somewhere that lady wrestlers wear nylons, like sheer thick nude colored tights under their, well, on their legs, under their costume. Whoever wrote that was stuck in the 80s, because they did wear them in the 80s and way before that. It was very obvious because they were shiny. They don't wear them today. Or very few of them do. Supposedly it was to hide bruises and different things, but I think part of it back in the old days and up into the 80s and even the real early part of the 90s, one of the reasons they did it was to hide, I'm trying to way to put this, female, if you have more layers, basically, because their tights are like a leotard. The old tights for a woman were a leotard, more or less, and you wore that under your leotard. One of the reasons you would do that is if you were having your cycle and you were using a pad, which were much more common back in, the 80s and before. It would hide it better. Before they had these birth controls that were, such that you never got a period, and women weren't in the kind of shape that a lot of the women are in today, where they are in such good shape that they might not have a period anyway. That kind of thing. So, these women were in shape, don't get me wrong, but not like these women. So, yeah, I think that was part of that. They claim it's to cover bruises and cover imperfections on their legs and whatever, and it's like, okay, have you seen these girls? They're half naked. These girls today do not wear tights over their legs. I haven't done that since probably the early part of the 90s, like 92, 93. After that became the diva era where, it was all skin. And even now their costumes are flimsy. Not flimsy. Little tiny. Not something you would typically wear tights with. That would be very obvious. And believe me, I've seen them live. And yeah, you can see bruises, And these girls wax their legs, so you're never going to see hair anyway. Yeah, so I found that interesting. It's interesting what people think they know about wrestling, you know? Like, I saw a thing where it said, when the people come in, they're handed signs. Handed signs? What the? Where the? You know? Did you go to wrestling? Because I've been to wrestling many times, and I've never been handed a sign. I've seen a sign taken away from someone. Because the World Wrestling Federation did not approve. But I've never seen signs handed to people. And I've heard that a couple of times. Where most of the signs are real, but some signs are handed to people. No. The only people who get signs handed to them are people that know people. You know, people who are what we call plants will be given a sign. That's the only way you're given a sign in wrestling. Believe me, I've made plenty of them. So yeah, that's yeah. Bologna and cheese. I am going to do something I need to do. That'll be easy. But today I'm taking a break. I'm not doing a ton of heavy lifting, a ton of walking. I'm just not. I need a me day, you know. I do have a couple of things I want to get. So I'm going to make a Walmart grocery order. And yes, the delivery charge, but that's okay. I expect to have a small Walmart charge card bill this month, and that's okay. For some medicine, and like I said, fine. And I'll pay the $7.95 too. You know, I pay it off each month anyway. So, which is what my mother told me to do. That is what I do. Gosh almighty. So anyway. Like I said, the opinions expressed herein are mine and mine alone. If you agree with them, great. If you don't, great. That's your own opinion. You have a right to that. Like I said, it's interesting, you know, being a bit of a historian of the sport, as I am. Knowing the women, you know, stuff like that. So, like I said, it will be interesting to see what comes down the pike, and I will be following it very closely with World Wrestling Entertainment. So, thank you so much for joining me for this packed news update. Please join me. Continue to join me on this channel and on Kid Missing. Please hit subscribe to both. Please hit the bell for your notifications on both. New video on Kid Missing going up here momentarily. Over here. Get it going. It won't take long. Upload video. Click. Now I need to go here. It's the Vernon County Jane Doe. under unidentified. Oh no, under adults. Missing, murdered, and unidentified adults. Okay, here we go. We have been 20 minutes. Because it was a little bit longer video, but that's okay. That means there's more information. I lovingly call her the seamstress Jane Doe. So anyway, if you're interested in that, hop on over there. I have a command strip, which is great. Excuse me. So I will see you next time. God bless you. I would like to thank Nick Opalewski and apologize that I never got to the requests that he made because I've been sick and I have been moving, and if he makes another request, I will be sure to do it. And you guys can make requests also for my retro wrestling recaps. I love doing them. So, but I will see you guys, hopefully for an unboxing. I'm waiting for Bob. It's late for Bob. But Mama must have had a doctor's appointment, so. And it's too cold for me to go out there. It's less than 30 degrees. Yeah, no, thank you. I'd like to get over my illness. Thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Mine is sunny and beautiful, but freezing, freezing cold. Below freezing cold. Like I said, sunny and beautiful, but below freezing cold. So, ouch. Ouch, my body. That's why I need a me day or 3. Bye, guys.